I don't do any running. I hate it. So that's easy enough to skip. I don't do any strength work because I naturally put on a lot of muscle weight, and when I do lift weights, I just get bigger and bigger. Doesn't help me for riding a bike fast. So I pretty much do everything on the bike. Like, I'll do strength training on the bike where I just do big gear hill repeats, do that sort of thing, and big gear work. And then I just try to balance enough high intensity intervals along with the aerobic base and like the tempo, lactate threshold stuff. It's tough. Like right now I'm kind of going, I have an idea of the periodization I'm following, but I'm still going kind of week to week and day by day depending on how I feel at travel. And with my legs, I have to change it up day to day. I might have a plan to follow, but you know, that goes out the window if I start cramping up. So a lot of it is having to balance the recovery.
Do you have power meters in your bikes, or is that like an important part of your?
Yeah, I use an SRM. So I have a wireless SRM on my number 3 bike, which I use for training, and that helps a lot. It really helps me follow kind of the intervals and gauge when I'm getting tired. The only issue with that is with travel to and from, and when you do a lot of recovery because you're racing a lot, power numbers drop, and so sometimes it just does my head in to ride with it and realize, oh my God, I can't believe I'm riding that slow. So I just, on those days, I just don't use it. So there's definitely a time to use it, a time to just ignore the numbers and put the time in and not stress about it.
Was that the same when you were, before you were doing cross, back when you were doing whatever riding you were with the Paralympics or the?
Yeah, Paralympics. I had a power tap at some point. I was an intern at Carmichael Training System for a bit, and so we all got power taps just so we could learn to use the power taps as well as learn to train and coach with power. So I used that just for training for a couple of years, and then I stopped using it because it stopped working. So I had to get another one. And then a friend of ours who works at SRM, he didn't want to come to our wedding because he wanted to go hunting that weekend, and so he felt guilty and he gave me a refurbished SRM as a wedding gift, and I'm like, works for me, so go hunting.
It's better than venison.
Yeah.
Can I ask you about the competitive difference between the women's fields in the U.S.? I guess, but do you race in women's field in the U.S., or do you typically, like, except for nationals, or do you stick in like the men's field? And also just competitively between the European and U.S. women's fields?
It's different, actually. I think definitely the top 5 to 10 women in Europe are faster than the women here. So you need to, once you get to that point, that level of U.S. racing where you're winning a lot and you're kind of at the high end, that's when you should jump over and go to Europe for more competition. But for just racing and the ability to race, and like for the beginner women, kind of intermediate, and then women that are kind of like the 10th to 20th spot for the league, racing here is the way to go. There's so much more racing. You can race every weekend. You can race the men's race if you want. You can race the women's race. You can race both. The opportunities to race are a lot more here than they are in Belgium. Even for Christmas cross, I think there's 2 races I can do in Belgium during Christmas, whereas the men can race like 7. So they talk about how much racing there is, but for the women, there's really not a lot. So either do a World Cup or you do a local race where you race the juniors because there's not a women's category. So racing here is definitely the way to go for women.
Is that changing all over there? I mean, you're still kind of third fiddle, it sounds like?
Yeah, they have categories. They have the Newlingers, which are like 15 and below for juniors, and they have the juniors, and they have Blofton, which is like U23, and then the elites. And we're usually ranked below the Newlingers, below the juniors for the women. It's irritating, yeah.
Do spectators pay to come in when you guys are racing?
Oh yeah, they pay. Okay. Yeah, there's every race is at least €8 to get in, even the local race. And the juniors get start money. Women, U23 elite, they get start money, but it's not as good as the elite men.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit different, and we're working on getting more races there for the women, but it's just it's kind of old school, backward. Like women need to be not exercising, kind of at home type stuff. So trying to break down those doors too. Yeah, yeah.
Do you work with an agent over there to like get start money? Like I know a lot of people do that.
Yeah, I have a guy who negotiates contracts for me, and
For each
it's
race, right?
each race, yeah. Yeah, mine is World Cups. It's World Cups, the start money is set. Or it's actually, they call it travel money now, it's not start money. But the travel money is set. So I do have a contract guy who negotiates start or travel money, and it gets higher each year, so that helps.
So you've seen that the money get better, but also the recognition, like do fans recognize you more now?
They do, and actually promoters want me there to race.
Yeah.
So they'll pay more to have me come to the race. So,
Is that because you're American?
yeah, because I can win. I mean, it's simple as that. Like they want to see people who can get on podium. And for the women, like if I'm getting 10th spot, they're not going to pay me.
Sure.
They'll pay me like 100 euros for start money instead of 500 euros. But yeah, if you're winning, you have a chance to podium. They want you there.
And the U.S. jersey probably helps too. And that seems like
It does. They're actually happy to see an American up there doing well, so it does help.
Now that those girls know you're as good as they are and better, have you noticed like a shift in the way they may interact with you, or have you noticed kind of any change in?
They squeezing your tires?
No, I mean they're all very respectful, and it's fun to race against them because like yeah, we all go and we race hard during the race, but we all like hang out in doping control afterwards too. So it's a healthy competitiveness there, and I have gained that respect. They expect me to be at the front with them, and it's kind of they make sure there's room for that too. Like we're all aggressive, definitely fighting for our spot, but I'm not getting kind of pinched out like I did the first year. So it's good. I do better at hard, technical, muddy, sandy races. I definitely think the fast course where you can draft and you need to have a good sprint, that's where I do as well. But I can't say there's a course that I don't like.
What's your favorite Colorado course?
I think it's the Breckenridge, the Nordic Center,
Yeah.
that race. That's
That
my
is
favorite.
fun.
Yeah, that's my favorite course. I haven't been able to do it, I think, last year or 2 years ago, but I just like racing on those trails because it's fun for one thing, and it's at 10,000 feet, and there's it's kind of like a mountain bike aspect to it. So.
Do one more question?
What part of the year is your off season, and how long is it, and what do you do?
I actually don't really take an off season. I like to ride my bike a lot, and I guess my off season would be I'm not racing so much, and that would be February, March, April. I'm still riding my bike quite a bit. I'll probably do 15 to 20 hours a week I just like riding my bike. I mean, that could be 4-hour single speed ride for a couple of days until I get tired. Then I'm like, okay, I'll just do a couple of easy day on the bike path for a couple of days. Stuff like that. I'll go skiing that time, do some backcountry skiing, as much skiing as I can. But mostly I'll break out the single speed. We'll go down to Pueblo Reservoir and just hammer each other for 3.5 hours and go back to the car. So, and we have some friends go down, like Greg Frosley and Allison. They'll come down there with us, Kelly Emmett. So get 4 of us 5 together and just like pretty much beat each other up until we can't do it anymore. Just get back to the car. So it's fun.
Well, I want to thank both of you guys for coming in tonight. We are looking at a potential world champion cyclocrosser. Put all the good vibes out in, it's January, February. What's the date?
31st.
The 31st this year. I wasn't sure if it was early February. So on the 31st, put those vibes out to this woman and her compatriot in the pits, Mark, and bring home that jersey. We know you do it. We do. Take advantage of both their resources here tonight. Ask Mark and Katie about the bikes, about more, and mingle, because it's a rare opportunity. And thank you guys so much for coming.